This is the final meeting of a very successful year. I think we should all be very happy with what we have accomplished together. I think we had a wonderful year, high quality meetings, great interaction, and I want to thank everyone for being so participative. Just before I pass on the baton to Mike and to Shida, I need to talk briefly about last week's annual meeting. We had an election of new bylaws, and I need to briefly talk about that. Also, the board, we re-elected Ed Edwards as a director, and according to our bylaws, right after the annual meeting, the board met and re-elected its officers for the forthcoming year, for the year 2025. And there are three officers we have. We have a president, we have a secretary, and we have a treasurer. And those who were holding this position in the past were re-elected by the board. So I will continue to serve as your president. Victoria will be our treasurer, and Mary will be our secretary. I just wanted to let you know that these are the officers that represent this organization legally, in addition to the entire board. But also, I want to show you we are human, and we had a mishap. The entire organization elected to change our bylaws. And the board, of course, had prepared a document to reflect the thoughts that we felt should be incorporated and those that should be left out of the very lengthy bylaws that we had before. And we had several discussions at board meetings about the content of the new bylaws. And we had, I think, a very good document. And then when it was sent out to our membership, not the final draft was sent out, but the one prior to the final draft. So as a result of this, we had a typo that many members discovered. I think in Article 2 or 3, it started with just the letter F, and F really was meant to originally to be sent for friends, MacFriends, but it actually was supposed to mean NMUG, Naples MUG. But it passed our audit, and it went out, and we recognized too late that there was this typo. Then there were a few other things that our audience sort of discovered. One was, if we wanted to amend the bylaws again, we need a quorum, and we need a quorum first, and then we need 2/3 of the members to vote in favor of that amendment or new bylaws. And the paragraph or the article that covered this issue in our past document was very lengthy. So we tried to shorten it, and we were talking about the voting members, that we have to have, let's say, 30% of the voting members to 2/3 majority of the voting members. Those two words we use, voting members. And one of our members, very diligent and the legal mindset, Googled the word voting member and found that the normal interpretation is a member with the right to vote. Well, I thought, and we thought, it was the member who actually was voting. So the question was, how do we interpret this article when we want to amend the bylaws again? And since this is just a shorter version of the previous one, the intent clearly is those members who are actually voting, that they should establish through the calculation for quorum and majority. So this is just an example where we could improve on the bylaws. And because our organization thrives on our meetings and our discussions, we're really not a legal organization. And I don't think our membership would enjoy too many discussions and ballots on how to improve bylaws they probably only read once in a lifetime anyway. So I want to reassure you that the changes that are proposed do not change the substance in any shape or form at all. However, I do not want to expose our membership to a new vote, to a new ballot, because I think our priorities are elsewhere. So what we are going to do, we are creating, and I didn't even know that existed in English, an errata document. and that this errata document will establish the few typos and word changes that we changed for clarification purposes. It will be done by a resolution of the board in detail, and we will also inform the membership of all of these little changes. We will send out an email. We will also reflect it on our message board. And then when the time comes, maybe in a year, when we feel we should amend our bylaws again, then we can integrate these little few changes into the new official version of the bylaws. I just wanted you to know that, so that we're trying to do everything correctly, but we don't want to steal our members' time by exposing them to too many ballots. I hope you understand it and you accept this procedure. That's it. And I now would like Mike to talk to us.
Thank you very much, Eckhart. Let me just share my screen. As usual, I have a little handful of notices that I need to share with you before we pass the meeting over to Bart. As usual, I've set up a thread for today's meeting on the message board. So after the event, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to make about Bart's presentation, or indeed about AI in general, please use that thread. It's just good housekeeping, and that would be great. Thank you. As I'm sure you all, but certainly most of you know by now, that our class season is now available from the website. I go on about this every week, and it's so important just for those who have never attended an NMUG class to know that they're really highly detailed classes. They have twice the running length of our Wednesday meetings. All the speakers who provide the classes will provide extensive notes to accompany the classes. And you can see the full range of them on the NMUG website whenever you wish. Dan has been busy creating the facility to issue a NMUG membership as a Christmas gift, which is fantastic. A perfect, very easy to reach last minute Christmas gift. And if you'd like to take advantage of purchasing one or some, you just need to go to your profile in the top right hand corner of the website, and down in the menu you'll see gift a membership, and just follow the instructions. Easy peasy. And for the last and final time this year, and probably for a few years to come, just a reminder that I'm sure you all know that our dues are going up from $30 to $40 on the 1st of January. And you can escape that price rise by signing up to a recurring membership with NMUG. You do that from the same place. You just go up to your profile in the top right corner of the screen, go down to subscriptions, registrations, and then in the window that opens, go down to change plan. There are no strings attached. But by signing up to a recurring subscription, you are not selling your soul to NMUG. And of course, you have the freedom to cancel that recurring plan anytime you wish. But for the time being, it's a bargain worth seizing, but it will only be available now for the next, where are we, the 18th, the next 11, 12 days. Our next meeting is on January the 8th, after the holidays have well and truly passed. Delighted to see that Joe Kissel is back with us. I'm sure many of you know Joe. Fantastic speaker. And he'll be talking about passwords and pass keys. And on the subject of fantastic speakers, Bart is with us today for our last session of 2024. But before I pass the meeting over to him, let me just stop my share and hand you over to Sheeta. All yours, Sheeta. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I interjected into there with the classes starting. Our first class starts January the 4th. So we won't see a meeting first. You'll see a class next, which will be macOS Sequoia, where yours truly will be starting off the season with that class. So I'd really like to see all of you there, and thank you for that. If you do have questions, please put them in the chat. We will get to them at the appropriate time today. Please keep your mics muted And I really want to extend a warm welcome to our new Suffolk members. I know some of you have already been members of NMUG for some time, but those of you who are just joining us for the first time today, we want to extend a warm welcome to you. And we also would like our participants to please put your full name in the participants list so that we know who you are. We thank you for that. And with all of that, I want to welcome Bart. This is a very timely meeting to talk about Apple Intelligence because Apple Intelligence is really going to be in the forefront of all of the discussions about our classes or in our classes. So I've been looking forward to this. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Bart. Welcome and thank you for being with us today.
Hey everyone, delighted to join you again. You guys are always good fun. So I'm going to give a slight health warning on this talk because you're the first audience to see it. And normally I like to hone these things a little bit more, but it turns out that the universe didn't want a quiet December in work, so I've had a rough couple of weeks of it, and this isn't quite as practiced. So my timing may not be perfect. I'm hoping. When would you like me to finish, Sheeta?
We will let you go. We want to see this.
Okay.
We've been looking forward to this for a while.
Well, I have no idea if it'll be too long or too short, but anyway, we'll see how we
Go
go.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, for those of you who don't know me already, by day, I am the cybersecurity specialist with Maynooth University. I used to be a Linux sysadmin with Maynooth University before I specialized. And I did briefly act as a junior lecturer and a researcher at Maynooth University. I kind of like the place. It's a nice university. And then on the side, I am also Bart Busschots Creations. I do open source software, IT consulting. I have a few podcasts. Let's Talk Apple and Let's Talk Photography are the most relevant. And I am a regular on the Podfeet podcast Empire with Alison Sheridan with Security Bits, Taming the Terminal, and Programming by Stealth. So definitely a Mac person. Right. So to talk about Apple Intelligence, I figured we should actually step back a bit and look at the bigger picture and see how we got to now, and specifically what makes Apple Intelligence so dramatically different from some of the more media-friendly AI stuff that's been getting the headlines a lot, like ChatGPT and stuff, because Apple Intelligence is a very, very different beast, which I think has some great advantages for us Mac users. So the first problem we have is that the word AI is kind of a buzzword. It doesn't have a technical definition, doesn't have a true meaning. It just encompasses lots of stuff. So you have some of the oldest AI I remember is optical character recognition, where you would scan a document and it would initially just be a photograph, and then you'd run it through OCR and it would do a terrible job of transcribing it. Whereas now you go into a photo in Apple Photos and you just drag and drop your mouse over some text on a random, sign or something, and it picks it out perfectly. But that's AI in action. Every time a website recommends something to you, oh, I see you liked blah blah blah. I think you might also like blah blah blah. Those recommendation engines, that's all AI. Those robo vacuum cleaners and lawnmowers that are going around keeping everything clean and short, that's all AI. Our voice assistants are all AI. An awful lot of image editing and stuff is done through AI. All of our cars are now, helping you keep your lane and or driving themselves. That's all AI. Recognizing things in images is called classifiers. That's AI. And a lot of it really falls under an actual technical term, which is machine learning. And Apple have favored the word machine learning for the last decade or so, because they didn't really think the word AI had any meaning. But the word AI has ended up being such a buzzword that Apple have finally given in and stopped saying machine learning or ML and started actually talking about artificial intelligence, or specifically Apple Intelligence. So Apple have been doing AI for a very, very, very long time. They just called it machine learning or ML. So that I think that causes a lot of confusion. So I'm going to give you a really, 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 really short version of the history of AI, because we've been trying